What's up guys, it's Ash Matthews from Smart Boy Studios. This article is about how to prepare for your recording studio session to get the most out of it to save time and money. This article is brought to you by ThreadBeats. Click the link down below to get $50 in free items when you sign up. So, like my grandpa always said, plan your work, work your plan. You know what I mean? It's good to prepare so that when you're going into something, you have a plan of action to execute it to the highest efficiency. Right, so when you go into a recording studio session, there's a few things you want to take care of before you get there. Scheduling, writing, practicing, file management, budgeting, and then a few other things. So when it comes to scheduling, it's always important to keep a note of when your session is. The last thing you want to do is plan a session two months in advance and then forget about it. So I personally use Google Calendar to manage all of my sessions. If the studio that you work with sends invites via Google Calendar or whatever calendar you use, that's great. If not, just keep track of it and make sure that you have it down, and make sure that if they don't confirm with you, that you confirm with them the day before. That way, everyone's on the same page as far as scheduling, and you know when it is and where it is and all that stuff. Now, the next part, when it comes to writing, I know everybody has their own style that they like to do. Some people have notebooks full of stuff written, or their notes on their phone, there's full of their songs. Other people like to just come in on the fly, and either way, I'm okay with either one that you want to do. Other engineers, I'm sure, are. Others may not prefer one way or the other, but I will say that writing your songs ahead of time definitely saves you a lot of time, which then saves you money. It saves time for your engineer to mix it. You guys can come up with creative ideas, add other things. If you are taking a long time to record because you're writing as you're recording, you're just using up more time and taking away from the time that you could spend mixing or coming up with creative decisions for your song. Like I said, I know everyone has different processes, but writing ahead of time is great. And even if you want to write in the moment, you can always write in the moment at home, do the same process, but then kind of have a draft of it for reference when you come into the studio. It makes it go quicker. And especially if you write, it's very important to practice. The artists that I have that come in that are very well rehearsed in their songs record their stuff very quick. They have an idea of what they want in their head, and we can lay it down quickly, again saving them time and money and giving us more time to work on the mix and adding layers and creating different effects and doing really fun, interesting things with their song because they recorded it very quickly because they practiced it really well. File management is another big one. It's very important that all the files that you need, and you have all the files, whether you bring them on a flash drive or what really works out well is if you can email the files to the studio or the engineer ahead of time so he can get everything together, make sure it's all there, and set up your session before you even get there. Again, saving you time, which then saves you money. Another thing that's important is where you get your files from. I know a lot of people just get their beats from YouTube. They're just straight ripping them off of YouTube, and that's fine. Do what you want to do, but if you're going to do that, please just try to make sure that you're getting something with the highest audio quality possible from YouTube. YouTube videos already aren't going to have the best quality audio, but some of them are definitely worse than others. So just kind of be mindful of the beats that you find. My recommendation is to actually go to a producer, whether you found them on YouTube. A lot of beats on YouTube, there's links right below where you can purchase the beat for lease or exclusively, and getting the track outs for those gives your engineer the ability to mix the song as best as it can be and make sure that your vocals fit in. And it also allows you to be creative with the structure of the song when you have the different parts to move around. If you can't afford it, if it's not in your budget, or maybe this is just a song for whatever, you're not going to try to put it out there, you're not going to make a video, you're just putting something on SoundCloud just to have something out there. Maybe it doesn't make sense to buy the beat or buy the track outs for it, in which case you can always still buy like an MP3 lease. Now I recommend the getting a WAV file and the WAV lease because it's going to have higher quality, because waves are higher quality. They're lossless audio. They're not compressed for file size, so they're going to have better quality audio. But I understand if an MP3 is what makes sense for you budget wise and what you're trying to do with the track. And another thing, it's important that whether you're just sending a beat or you're sending files to an engineer to mix, whether they're track outs, whether you already recorded it and your engineer is just mixing it, it's very important that you name all the tracks so that when the artist gets them, he knows what everything is and he doesn't have to spend 30 minutes going through all the tracks, renaming them and figuring out what everything is, so he knows how to put it all together and blend it all together. So the things that an artist loves to see in file names are the artist name, the song title, the BPM, beats per minute, so the tempo of the song, and the key that the song's in, especially if you're the type of artist that wants pitch correction or auto-tune, and then accurate track names for track outs. Now let's go into budgeting. For budgeting, just know how much time you plan to use, how much time you have to use based on your budget, and just plan accordingly, because the last thing that you want to do is get to the studio and either time goes over or whatnot, whatever happens, and you don't have the money on hand to pay for your session, and then you can't even take your files home or get your files sent to you and be able to enjoy what you actually worked on. So just know what you can afford and go into your session knowing what's the most amount of time I can use based on my budget for this, or how much time do I plan to use and what can I afford. And then a few other things just to touch on is if you are having another producer or another artist come in for your session to work on the song with you, make sure that you confirm with them as well, because I hate it when artists come in and they have somebody else on the song, and 35 minutes goes by and the other dude doesn't show up, and he calls them and the dude can't make it, and so now we can't even actually finish the song, and that's always unfortunate. So make sure that your team, whoever's coming, producer, artist, photography, whatever, someone to support you, while you're there, make sure everyone's on the same page, make sure your whole team's on the page, that way everyone's there. Sometimes you may want to eat before you get there, depending on what time your session is. Some people don't like to eat before they record because if you got food in your mouth and whatever, and just plan ahead for that. And then I think one of the most important ones is get yourself in a good mood. When you're coming to the studio, you want to have the right vibe, you want to have the right mood, and being in a positive mood is definitely going to benefit you in the recording and delivery of your song, whether that's playing with your dog or taking a walk, whatever it is that puts you in a good mood. Try to do that before you come to your studio session. That way you're positive, you're ready to go, and everyone feeds off of each other with good energy, and you can create an awesome product. So I hope that this stuff can help you prepare for your sessions. I'll go over them again. If you're the type of artist that likes to save time and save money, write your songs out, have a vision in your head of what you want the song to be, have your lyrics written down, have ideas for how you want it structured, how you want certain layers to go, even write your ad-libs so and then practice that stuff so that when you come in, you can just lay it down and record. Again, I know that some people like to go off vibe and do whatever feels right, and if that makes sense for you with how you work and that makes sense for your budget and you can do that, by all means go for it, but know kind of an idea of what you want to do coming in. Because you'll just get the best product in the end out of it. And then make sure that your file situation is good. You have your files somewhere saved. You bring your files on a flash drive. You email them. Just make sure everything's solid. I've had people come in and we couldn't get the beat because they hadn't downloaded it from the store that they bought it from, and we had issues with that. Or they had a flash drive with the files that we were going to mix, but some of them were missing and had to leave, and then they couldn't get them. Stuff like that. I know stuff happens, but if you plan ahead, you can usually prevent this type of stuff. So it's always a good idea. Make sure everything's named right, and then just kind of make sure you know how much money and time you can spend, and plan ahead so you know how much time and money you can save. Anyway, I hope this helps somebody get the best out of their recording studio session. I will have more blogs about this type of thing coming up soon, what to ask your producer or engineer, what to do with all this stuff. So sign up for the newsletter. You can go to the contact page, or you can click the link that's at the bottom of this page and sign up for the newsletter, because I will be emailing these blogs out to the newsletter as well. Thanks for watching. Yeah.